In this video, I'm going to show you the two powerful prompting techniques in DeepSeek. These techniques I'm going to share with you allow you to have deeper insights into whatever it is you are searching for here on DeepSeek. So if you use any of these, you are going to go further than somebody who is just prompting without using these two techniques I'm going to share with you. The difference is clear when you are doing just basic prompting for, let's say, simple tasks or everyday use. When it comes to all those complex research, analysis, and more of sophisticated tasks here on DeepSeek, you will want to understand prompting and the best way to approach that. So there are techniques that have been identified that can help you get the best out of your complex research. So the first technique I'm going to share with you is the one that allows you to break down your analysis. It progresses from one prompt to the other. So it's just like having a conversation, and then from the first step you move into the next one. It's just like having a follow-up questions to conversation. So that is one. Just like human beings have conversations, this AI is also designed in that way. When you break down the task into pieces, then it allows it to deal with a particular piece better than when you mount everything together and then you send it to the AI to process. So the technique I just mentioned is called layering. You move from one question to the next question, trying to arrive at a solution to the problem you want to solve. Let's take, for example, let's say we want to analyze employment rate in West Africa, and then the top employers in West Africa, and then the primary customers of these employers. If you just put everything together in the AI, it's going to be a lot of information. At a point, it will even confuse the AI. So we're now going to layer it by breaking it down into three. So our first question now will be, in 2026, search. So you see that when you break it down, the AI gives you a deeper response than when you model everything together. It has already given you the indicator, the region, and then the value estimate. If you move down, you see a deeper look at the data that's presented to you. See the analysis here, and then that is employment to population ratio, unemployment rate. You see the gender gap. You see it breaks down into all these details. When you read it, you have a very deep insight into what you are researching. Based on this first layer of prompting, the next question now will be a follow-up to this first response. So we'll now say, based on this employment rate, who are the top 3 employers? So this is another layer. Now you also see again that the response is a follow-up to the first one that we prompted. Then the next one here is that it has given you major employers in West Africa, has broken down into categories and has mentioned them here. Okay, so it's better doing it this way instead of putting everything together in one prompt. So when you're looking for details, you're looking for rich information about a particular topic, break it down into those different pieces or those different questions, and then ask one question at a time. It's only when you do this that you have a vivid explanation like this. The third layer now will be We can now ask the third question. Will now be, for these employers. So this is based on the previous question now. What are the primary customer demographics? Interesting. So you see again another deeper insight into what we are looking at. Remember, we are looking at employment rate, we're also looking at top employers, and we're also looking at their customer demographics. But instead of putting it all together, we broke it down into 3 layers, which is one technique I've shown you in using DeepSeek. That is technique 1, layering, breaking down your query or your research into layers to achieve the best results when prompting the AI. You can ask more questions, that is, provide more layers to your query. But one thing is that each layer narrows down the focus of the analysis into a more actionable conclusion. I'll start a new chat. Our second technique is comparison prompting. So in this second technique, it allows you to uncover insights, get insights by examining the differences and similarities between elements. It works well when you are looking at pulling out information from different sources to have a comprehensive comparison. This technique is useful when you want to look at, let's say, relationships, things that will help you to review insights. Carrying out certain studies in isolation doesn't really give you the result that is needed. So when you do it comparatively, it reveals the insights and the details, things that you will not see when you are doing it one after the other. When you master this technique, you can now observe the kind of work you do and then see if you are doing comparative analysis, then you want to use this technique, this comparative analysis prompting. So let's take this example. Compare the acceptance rate of regular hospital rural with urban areas in 2026 in Ghana, considering presence of facilities, demographics, and income. So we find that excellent. So if you look at this now, you see a very detailed comparative summary presented here in facts and figures. You even have the sources here for you to look at if you want to read more about it. So this is what this thing does for you. See the factor they are analyzing here, and then you see the comparison here. Skill delivery rate, you see all of this here. Facility presence, you see it here. Using these AI tools, you have to be very intentional about what you're looking for to guide the AI using your prompts to give you the best out of it. I always say that 2 persons can use this AI tool and have different results. It depends on the skill which Mr. A and Mr. B is applying to the use of these AI tools. You have learned 2 powerful techniques in using DeepSeek today: layering your prompts and then comparison prompting. Another thing you can do is to combine the 2 techniques together. You have layering and comparison prompting. These 2 things can be combined together to also get a deeper insight into your query. Let's look at this example as well. So if you say compare male and female participation in international games in Kenya in 2026. You see that this first prompt, this one now is comparison that we want to do here now. We'll send it. So you see the comparison has been drawn. 2026 Olympics and male participation, female participation. We can see all of it here. Now, we're now going into layering. We started with comparison prompting, which is one technique. This second prompting now. So we'll now say for both gender, analyze preferred sport and level of participation. So we started with comparison, and this second question now is going further to get deeper insight into this problem. But this is now layering. So this is layering technique mixed together with comparison. Okay. And you see the answer is also deep, giving you very deep insight into this our prompting. So finally we can now say based on this information, we would like to see a prediction of, so we say predict increase in the next 1 year. We've successfully combined the two techniques together on this query. So we started with comparison and then we entered layering in the last two questions. This is how you work with AI tools to give you the best out of the problem you are trying to solve. So the combination gives a thorough understanding of the problem we are trying to solve. So you see that each step is detailed with specific numbers pointing to what we are trying to research.